Yeah, hello folks. I'm putting together this little compilation, particularly for Gen 4 owners that are considering what sort of bull bar to fit to their unit. I've always been of the opinion for the last 30 odd years that the ARB steel bull bar was probably one of the better ones on the market. Unfortunately, due to a recent trip, and I have to admit the conditions were pretty atrocious and quite long lasting, 800 odd kilometres of pretty serious corrugated road, has given me another view on the ARB bar. The guys that fitted it at ARB did a fantastic job. They looked after me on price, and I was quite happy until I got home and realised that there's a major design flaw which they are sticking their heads in the sand, ignoring. They don't want to know about it. So I'm putting together this video to show you what's going on. So when it was first fitted, the bull bar was solid as a rock, and it's been great. Unfortunately, half a trip down the Canning stock route, and I discovered this. So where the bull bar was actually quite solid and firm before, I'm hoping you can see that, but the bull bar's as loose as buggery now. At first I thought that some mounting bolts or the like might have come loose. Unfortunately it was a lot worse than that, so to see what's going on we need to have a look underneath. So we go down and we note, and I'm hoping you can see there that the mounting bracket is secured to a front cross member here, and you can see here that this front cross member has fatigue cracked and let go, hence all the movement in the bull bar. It's actually this mounting point which really stops any fore and aft movement of the bar. So if the structural integrity of this cross member, as here, has been compromised, then you will get that movement that I showed above. Now, my argument is that that design mount is flawed. What happens is, as the bar flexes backwards and forwards, as it will do on a corrugated road, for example, is that it imparts a load onto this piece of cross member here. Now, this cross member is just a piece of pressed steel, probably about 1.2 millimeters in thickness. Haven't actually measured it. I can do that. I don't think that's relevant. Competitors' bull bars, and I'll show you a picture of that later, has this mounting bracket actually doesn't bolt here, but it actually clears the cross member, comes down here, bends 90 degrees, and it bolts up into this much more solid structure. So any fore and aft movement is taken up on this part. What happens here is, when this flexes, is that this plate here flexes in and out. So with the stock route trip that I did, all those corrugations has eventually fatigue cracked this cross member. Now, just to note, it's not just on the one side. We'll flick over here to the other side. And you'll see we've got exactly the same problem. Cross member has failed due to load being imparted on here, flexing this plate backwards and forwards, which has eventually just fatigue cracked that, and I've lost all structural integrity of the bull bar. So I'm going to see if I can set the camera up just to show you what's going on. And I need to get up above the car. I'll just move that bull bar backwards and forwards, and you'll see how it induces flex onto that crossbar, onto that cross member. So you can see that moving backwards and forwards. So the whole structural integrity of that bar is trying to be held by this one little piece of sheet steel. Like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's a design flaw. It either needs strengthening ribs put inside there, it needs a brace across it, or it needs some other engineering method to stop that plate from flexing and spread that load. Like I said, the competitor's bar, the mount clears all this cross member and bolts in up here, and you can see any fore and aft movement there is not going to induce any flex, so it'll all come down to shear strength then, and it's a much better method. But anyway, you live and you learn, I suppose. The issue I have now is that as per normal with most retailers, when there's a problem, they're giving me bullshit excuses as to why it happened. The first excuse was the fact I'm running remote res shocks. Hopefully you can see that down there. This top bracket here I originally had mounted down the bottom here, and I was sharing the same clamp plate for the bull bar. So they tried to tell me that with that clamp in place that there was less clamping force between this rail and the plate, and that's what allowed the bar to flex. Well, that's absolute bullshit. There was just as much torque and compression on that point. It's no different than what they use anyway, and that's having a washer under the bolt head. So, you know, to ARB I say, don't insult my intelligence. The second excuse they tried to tell me was that because the vehicle was over GVM, that also had an impact. Well, I dispute that point too. The majority of, well, first of all, how the hell would they know what weight I was carrying? They wouldn't have a clue. As I told them, I actually weigh bridged the vehicle, so I know exactly what it weighed. Secondly, the majority of that weight was in the rear of the car. So, you know, I just can't comprehend how being over GVM made that front cross member fatigue crack. It's bullshit. You know, in their defence, they have come back and they said that yes, they will repair the vehicle for me, but I'm left in a quandary. I have two options. I can have the cross member replaced and I can have it braced, which will stop this problem from happening again. But if I do so, you know, they're of the opinion that if anything happens in the future, it's just going to transfer that energy to somewhere else on the car and something else is going to break, and they don't want to be responsible for that, which is fair enough. I can live with that. That's a fair enough excuse. Unfortunately, the other option they're giving me is to replace that front cross member as per standard, and I said that's fine, I'm willing to do that too, but I need an assurance that in 12 months time, if I go down the canning stock route again, and when it happens again, because I can tell you right now it will, when it happens again, are you going to look after me or are you going to fob me off? And this is the problem they're having with ARB. They won't put anything in writing to say that if all things are equal, as they are now, in 12 months time, 2 years time, whatever, they will replace it again. So really, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it all comes down to an engineering design issue. ARB don't want to put any effort into redesigning that mount, which really wouldn't be a hard thing. There may be compliance issues, airbags and the like, but other manufacturers have done it. I don't see why they can't. As far as I'm concerned, anyone that's got a Gen 4 Paj and they are a great vehicle. But anyone that's got a Gen 4 Paj that's looking at putting a bar on, do your homework. Now, two of us went on the canning with Gen 4 Pajes. We both suffered the same issue. That's another handy thing for me, because that fellow wasn't running remote res shocks, had nothing on those clamping plates, and he suffered exactly the same problem. So, you know, it just adds more weight to the fact that I call bullshit on their pissant excuses. But yeah, summing up, if you're going to put a steel bull bar on a Gen 4, do some homework, because personally I don't think the ARB bar's up to scratch. ARB are telling us that we're the first two people that have ever seen it happen on a Gen 4. Well, again, I call bullshit on that, because I know of one other person that it's happened to. It's obviously not a common problem, but you know, the design of the bull bar should be able to withstand the punishment of those corrugations that we put it through. And you know, I don't tell a lie, and I'll probably attach a clip of what we were up against. They were horrendous. Well, here you go. CSR at its finest, down to about 20 kilometres an hour. It's just absolutely relentless. Probably got about 15 kilometres of this to go to get to well 33. Oh, the joy of it all. But you know, this whole point of where the bull bar's mounted is just bullshit. It's a design fault, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not fit for purpose. But I'm not going to go down that legal route. Anyway, once again, you got a Gen 4, you're going to put a steel bar on. Be warned, because this could happen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.